This thing is the Mary Poppins bag of desks. All these drawers on one side. I do need to clean through some of these drawers. It has these beautiful carved legs. Wait for this. And just when you think it couldn't get more exciting, it has all these drawers. And then on the other side we have some more drawers, and I even have a little space in here. This is an absolute dream. This is one of the things that annoys me about so many desks, is that so much of the space is wasted. I am so happy with this. So now I need to see if I can get everything that I currently have in the art room in there. This is going to be interesting. My method for decluttering and organising is just to take everything out and basically dump it on the floor. I wish I could say I was a bit more organised, but I take things out one by one. I figure out what I want to keep, what I want to discard. I try and clean them at the same time, especially right now. This whole art room is covered in dust because we had to open up a wall and we didn't close the doors, so dust went all over the house. It took me a good week to clean everything downstairs, and this is the last room I need to get to. So I still have dust everywhere that I need to get off, but like I mentioned, everything comes out on the floor, cleaning it as I go, and that's when I start to try and put a little bit more order in my life. One of the hardest things to sort out are always my notebooks. This is the notebook that I used for when I was learning the piano. For me, I learn better if I draw things out. It really helps me visualize things, and then whenever I'm working on a book or a story, I like to write it out in a notebook as well, and this just helps me organize my head a little bit better. The ones which were already completely used up, I didn't see the point in keeping them, and especially with the outsider stuff, I know these characters back to front. I didn't need the notebooks anymore. The notebooks were completely full and used up, so they all went. With a lot of these art supplies, while I'm going through them, I try to make a mental note of what it is I actually use. Also with things like makeup, I like to check the expiry dates. Normally I keep a very, very tight lid on my makeup, and I don't normally let anything get past the expiration date, but it does happen every so often. So I go through everything, check that it's all good, discard things which are past their expiry date, and then for things that I'm pretty sure I'm not going to use anymore, they're going to go in a box. I've got quite a few friends who are special effects makeup artists, so I know that I can give it to them and it's not going to get wasted. Other things which I don't think I have any friends who would want to use it, it's easy enough for me to just put on eBay, and sometimes what I'll do with things that I want to get rid of is I'll just stick them up for free on Gumtree. I figure decluttering can be someone else's good luck, and they can pick it up for either free or for a couple of pounds, which is pennies compared to what you would pay for it if you were buying it new or even second hand. So this is now the bomb site that is the studio. There's still a few more things to sort out. I decided to completely get rid of these metal desks. I no longer needed them, so I stuck those up on Gumtree and sold those. They are heavy. I was very happy to get those down the stairs, but once they were all sorted out, it was time to tackle the table. Once I'd finally cleared that table of everything, I tried to move it downstairs on my own, and that wasn't happening. This thing is very, very heavy. So I had to wait for my husband to get back home to help me, and in the meantime I cleaned out the desk. Because I'd bought it secondhand, there were a few places where a bit of dust had collected. I think it was previously used as a craft drawer, which I can perfectly understand. It is the perfect art drawer. And I started organising everything into the desk. My idea is that I wanted to try and make sure that tools that I wanted to use more often were within easy reach, and they weren't at the very bottom of the drawers where I was likely to forget them. So I didn't want anything hidden in tins or boxes, stuff that you would actually have to open it up, because what I found is that I could have my pencils that I absolutely love in the most beautiful tin in the world, but for some reason if they're in a tin I just won't use them as much. I need to be able to have things out and visible. So what I did is, with things like the inks, which I don't know if you saw previously, a few of those had dried up completely, which was really annoying. I don't want my tools to not get used. I want them to get turned into paintings and drawings and just ideas. I don't want them to dry up. So what I ended up doing is moving those inks to the very front of the desk, where I could just open up that lid, see them, and then the idea is that I'd have my watercolours on one side, and then I'd have tools that I want to get through and use up because I don't use them enough on the other side. And so far that worked very well. I'm not going to include it in this video because otherwise it's going to take me 4 days to upload it. What I'll do at some point is I'll do a video which is a bit more of a look at my desk video, and then I can focus only on that desk, show you the different things that I used to organise everything, what I kept. If you're wondering what I did with all the stuff that I discarded, I gave a lot of this to my siblings. Actually, I gave everything to my siblings. They were very pleased about it. And then things which were just too broken or just in a state where I wouldn't have wanted to give it to someone else, those just went in the bin. But I would say a good 98% went to my siblings. And in this stall, this is where I put everything, where I was just so done. I was so tired at this point. I thought, I can't face cleaning a single thing more. So I just popped all of that in the stall. I will deal with that at a later date. And then I did the world's worst paint job on the walls. I didn't care. I just wanted a rough coat. I wanted more light in here. And then I rearranged the studio quite a few times over the next few days. This is probably the most bodgy thing I've ever done, but I couldn't get the screws in any further. It's just the angle. I figured that this was a way for me to have things like my most reached for brushes and pens right here. I do need to dust that. There's still dust everywhere. Right, that is a much more manageable size. So this is the pile that I'm keeping. This will go in my texturizing pile. This one should be with my drawing set, and these are all the brushes that are destroyed, rubbish, or just are awful in general. So these are going into the bin. They're useless, they're damaged, no one else is going to want to use them, they can go. And this is the set that I'm keeping. This is why I love keeping little jars like this. I have a little basket downstairs in the kitchen, and every time we get small jars like this, or just jars that I think will be useful for organising later on, I save them, and it's an absolute lifesaver. Because now I don't want my brushes to get confused, so that way I have all my nice watercolour brushes separated from all the texturising brushes, and it just makes it all much more organised. It was day 2 of going through everything and trying to organise it, and this is the point where I completely rearranged the studio quite a few times. I just needed to try and find a way that I could work on the computer that wasn't going to do my neck in. The way I had it previously, it was at an angle where it was so high up, I ended up really hurting my neck, and I've already got a bit of a neck injury from a trampolining accident I had a few years ago. So I changed that and ended up doing this with it, where I had to move the old heater box that was in the corner. This thing hasn't been working for over 3 decades. It was here when we moved. We knew we were going to have to get rid of it, but I finally got it out, covered it up, did a rough paint job of the wall. I still need to finish it at some point, but for the moment this is okay. And there's even space for the downstairs bookshelf, which Bubby keeps trying to rearrange. Up here I have my light over my desk, I have my pencils easily available, and I've turned the cube storage into a standing desk, which works really, really well. So far I am very, very happy with my new studio.